Assalamu alaikum everyone, I'm Khalif Al Haroon, the head of innovation at Vodafone Qatar, and today I've got the Nokia 1020. This phone has a 41 megapixel camera. Let's go take a closer look. And here in my hands is the Nokia 1020. I've got the white version in front of me, and this is a phone that a lot of people have been talking about, mainly because, and let's turn this around for a second, yes, this is the camera. They've done a pretty good job. This is a 41 megapixel camera in this phone, but I'm going to save the best for last if you don't mind. What I'm going to do is first show you around the phone. So in the front of the phone, as you can see, we've got a front-facing camera, of course. We've got the touch buttons over here. We've got a great screen. Actually, it is 4.5 inches big. It uses AMOLED technology and has 332 pixels per inch. Again, I use the iPhone as a benchmark because I think the iPhone has a pretty great screen, and that's at 329 pixels per inch, also known as PPI. This is also Gorilla Glass, and I love it, when manufacturers use glass screens because it's also it feels nicer to touch, it's smoother, and of course it is pretty durable. So that's the front of the phone, not much to it. Let's take a look to the right of the phone. We've got the volume button, we've got the power button, we've got the camera button over here as well. So as you can see, it's got a little bit of a smooth, round edge to it, so it actually is pretty nice to hold in the hand. Now let's take a look at the back. And at the back of the phone, this is what it looks like, and of course it doesn't have a removable battery as we're used to with most of the Nokia phones. Back here we've got the 41 megapixel camera sensor, we've got an LED flash, and yes, this is a xenon flash, and this is where the camera is as well, and it actually has a little bit of a disc that opens and shuts to protect it, so that's pretty cool. And of course, if you touch anywhere on the phone, it does have NFC built in, so yes, you can tap and you can basically access anything that has an NFC tag. At the bottom of the phone, this is where we have the little dots. Of course, we've got the speakers, we've got the micro USB, and then over here are two little holes so that you can put in a charm or a lanyard or a string or something like that. On the very top of the phone, we've got the noise cancellation mic right over here. We've got the headphone jack, and this is where you put in your SIM card. In terms of overall memory, because it's got quite a big phone, let's talk about the fact that it has 32 gigabytes and there's also a 64 gigabyte version. It has 2 gigabytes of RAM. The processor is actually a 1.5 gigahertz dual core processor. It supports 4G, has radio built in, Bluetooth 3.0, and Wi-Fi. In overall size, it's 130.4 millimeters by 71.4 millimeters wide, and in terms of thickness, it's 10.4 millimeters. But again, when I'm holding this in my hand, thanks to the rounded edges, you won't feel the thickness at all. And again, they've done a really good job with the materials. It's a really nice high quality plastic. It's got this matte feeling to it, so it actually feels really smooth. And although it's got quite a large camera that sticks out of the phone, because they've sculpted it, they've given that smooth shape between the let's say the camera area and the back of the body, it looks much smaller than it really is, and so I love these little tiny effects. Now you're probably going to want to put the phone down flat if you want it not to rock around, because when you do put it down, what it does is it ends up at an angle. So there are two things here. There's an advantage to the fact that it ends up on an angle. The first advantage is that it's easier to look at the screen at first glance if you're having it on table, for example. But the disadvantage, something that I'm worried about, is this going to end up getting scratched and leaving scuff marks at the bottom because it's always touching or tapping on that area. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Of course, since this is a Nokia phone, it does use Windows 8. As I mentioned, it is 41 megapixels. The front-facing camera is 1.2 megapixels, and this phone comes in white, yellow, black, and red. In terms of overall battery life, it has 2000 milliamps of battery, so that should be enough, but I haven't played enough with this phone to give you a proper review. Let's take a look at the screen, and actually we're not going to be doing a full review of the Windows operating system, which by the way can also be updated to the latest version of Windows Amber once it's out. But we're just going to take a look at the camera suite and application, maybe take a couple of photos to show you. Unlocking the phone, we're going to swipe up, and then we're going to take a look at the different camera applications that they've got. In this case, we've got two. We've got the Nokia Smart Cam, and we've got the Nokia Pro Cam. Let's open up the Nokia Smart Cam for a second. Now, it gives you a little bit of an indicator telling you to hide the phone steady, and basically we don't have as many options as you typically would with the Nokia Pro Cam application. In this case, I did take a random photo, and it actually tells me which application I used to take that photo. If I go back, all I need to do is tap on the top right to review my settings, review on, so this is to show you the photo after you've taken an image, taken a photo, set the camera button, the tutorial, and about and feedback. And so that's pretty much it. So let's go back now and take a quick photo. Simply tapping on that, it goes through a little bit of a process where it takes a number of different photos. Did you see that little bit of a shutter? What that does is it tries to select the best possible photo for you, and it recommends the best shot. So now it's going through that. It says swipe through so you can take a look at your photos, and the first photo it's shown me is the actual best shot that I've taken. So it's pretty incredible. And I don't know, again, if you've noticed, but it took quite a few photos in a second. So it's basically burst mode. Let's go out of this for a second and let's open up the Nokia Pro Cam. In terms of overall settings, you'll notice that we've got the flash, white balance, we've got ISO, we've got the aperture, we've got a number of different things. So in this case, if I choose the aperture settings, they've given us this little bit of a wheel that we can then change settings with, and it gives a little bit of a click while you're doing that. So again, this is why they call it Pro, because you're probably going to want to play around with the different settings. If I tap over here, again, I wish I'm not a pro myself, so I wish I could tell you what is the most optimum settings. I wouldn't know. Here we can select the ISO. Over here you can choose the focus mode. In this case, we're just going to leave it in auto. This is the white balance, so you can have incandescent, indoor, outdoor, and so on. And then this is where you tap to change the type of flash mode. And so in this case, it's no flash. This is auto, so it will decide between using the LED as well as the xenon. So we might use one, might use the other, might use both actually. Another thing to note is that when you touch on an image to focus, what it does is it flashes the LED to help the phone give you that perfect focus. Now if I'm going to take a photo, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move that to the second, swipe that to the side for a second. If I'm going to change it to please do take a flash, now watch this. Yes, that is a proper flash going off. Now let me just show you what the back looks like. I'm going to try to put my finger over here. Hopefully we're not going to be blinding anyone. That is the flash. And of course, the sensor or the camera lens actually closes when you're not using the application. So this is just a quick look at the Nokia Lumia 1020. It is a fantastic phone to use. I'm sure that a lot of the Windows users are going to be extremely excited to get their hands on this device. I really just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone for continuing to support the channel, continuing to support the videos that I've been putting out there for all of you. I really do hope you enjoy it. Please do leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if you do have any. Thank you so much, and again, I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you'd like to buy a device, you can either visit one of our stores or go to www.vodafone.qa.